Hello and welcome to Muppetsational, the UK's biggest Muppet Show podcast, hosted by three huge Muppet fans. Join us each week as we dive into an episode of Jim Henson's classic variety show, now finally available on Disney+. This week, it's Season 2, Episode 18, starring the bombastic Jaye P. Morgan. It's time to get things started on the chronological, explorational, conversational Muppetsational!
Woo!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Muppetsational. I'm Lewis Chandler.
I'm Jade Turner.
And I'm Emma Chandler.
And we are here this week, as we are every week, to discuss another episode of The Muppet Show. How are we both doing on this rainy Sunday afternoon?
The sun's trying to come out here.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not actually raining at the moment. It was really heavily raining earlier, though.
Well, it's grim and Peckham, I'll tell you that. I vaguely made a promise to myself that after we finish recording today that I'm going to go to the gym, but if it's raining, I'm not. So part of me hopes it keeps raining so I don't actually have to go. Oh.
I think the bad news is that I reckon the sun shines on its way if Emma and I are in some form of sunshine.
Yeah, it's heading east. Oh God.
Damn it.
Well, let's see how quickly we can get this episode done so that I can say, oh, well, it's raining when I come. Oh dear. How are we both doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. We've a little bit of it inside the podcast for everyone. This is our third episode recording in just
2 days.
2 days.
Yeah. So,
well, we've got to bank them up.
yeah. No, it's all good. It's fun. It's nice to be back in the swing of it.
It is. Well, it is all thanks partially to us all having a free weekend just out of nowhere, out of the blue. I was meant to be partying with gays in Manchester, and then there was train strikes, so we sold our tickets, and then the train strikes got cancelled.
Oh, so annoying.
Oh, it's all right. I mean, Peter was very concerned about having to get his Glastonbury tickets this morning, which would have meant having to, I don't know, either stayed up the entire night
God.
and then into the morning to then do it, or like set an alarm after having gone to sleep only 20 minutes before. So I think this was probably the best case scenario. And Peter did get them.
Yay!
Good for him. But I'm not going because I hate the idea of camping. Can't think of anything worse.
Yeah, I don't miss camping. It's not fun.
I've never even done it. It's just like, I know it's a concept. I'm like, nope. Emma, we've never been camping, have we?
No, and I mean, when I did it in New Zealand, I did it in 6 weeks, but it was in a camper van, so that's as close as I got to a tent.
Next year, two of my friends are getting married, and they love camping, and they are getting married on a Cornish campsite where we have all had to book teepees. And I am already dreading it. I'm like, where do I plug in my hairdryer? How do I hang up my suit? And then the worst kicker is the bride isn't even staying in the campsite the night before the wedding. She's going to a hotel so she can get ready.
She is clearly doing this correctly. Although, yeah, a wedding at a campsite is an interesting concept.
I mean, it's a very, to be fair, it's a bougie looking, well, as far as I can see, it's a bougie looking campsite. And it's, near the coast, so then we'll go to the beach and stuff like that. But there is a little part of me that's like, God damn it. I can't believe I'm going to have to be in a tent.
At least it's a teepee. Like, it's not like you and Peter are going to have to struggle to put the tent up. And
oh God, no. Yeah, no. Yeah. There would be a wedding and a divorce if that was the case. Speaking of camp, let's move on to this episode of television.
Wild episode of television.
Whoa, my God. Jade, why don't you kick us off with a little production information?
I shall indeed. So this was originally broadcast on the 26th of February 1978. It was written by Jerry Jewell, Joseph A. Bailey, Jim Henson and Don Hinckley, and directed by Peter Harris. And Emma, I knew literally nothing about Jaye P. Morgan this time yesterday.
Yes.
So, do enlighten us, or especially me, please.
Yeah. So same, when I was kind of Googling Jaye P. Morgan, it kept bringing stuff up about the bank. So I was like, this can't be right. Yeah, so Jaye P. Morgan is a singer, actress, and game show panelist.
Oh my god, amazing.
She was most well known in the 50s and 60s, and she was most famous for her hit "That's All I Want From You." I don't know if any of you have heard that song or not.
Nope.
Not knowingly.
No. She was on a lot of different TV shows, a lot of variety shows. She was like a vocalist on shows like Stop the Music, and she also had her own show as well. She was also on the Gong Show, which was obviously quite a like riotous TV show, and she eventually got fired from that show because she flashed on TV and she got fired.
Oh my god, what year was that?
I don't know. I think it must have. I don't know if it was before or after she was on the Muppets. I'm going to say before.
Hold on, I'm going to look it up because I feel like if it was before, that is crazy that they booked her.
Yeah. Oh my god, this is great. I'm falling even more in love with Jaye P. Morgan.
Emma, while I'm looking this up, did you see how she got the name Jaye P. Morgan?
Yeah, she was because her name that she was born with was Mary Margaret Morgan, and then I saw that it was something like when she was at high school, she was huh?
No, like her initials are just
Yeah.
There we go.
Sorry.
And then she got the nickname when she was at high school because she was like a school treasurer, and it basically came from Jaye P. Morgan. So that's
oh my god!
Yeah.
So it is kind of it's kind of like how Aquafina is called Aquafina, and that's also a brand of, and she just chose the name.
Yeah.
So she was a singer predominantly, and then just did acting on the side. Like, what is she? I just want to know more about her. Was she in movies?
She was a singer, but she did some TV work, as in sitcoms and things.
Yeah.
And then I think she just became, as we have many of them now, famous for being famous. Like, and then she'd just be a panelist or a judge or whatever on shows and things.
Amazing.
It's quite hard to pinpoint exactly what her lane is. I think it was just sort of like maybe if she got offered stuff, she just did it.
Just an all-rounder.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of like a Bruce Forsyth style of like, they sing a little, they act a little, they present a little. Yeah.
I think the Gong Show thing might have happened after the Muppet Show.
That feels, more likely.
Yeah. She is also in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Her official designation in that is celeb number 2. So.
Oh. Well, now I'm intrigued as to who she is in that. Well, I've got to say, I had no idea who this person was before the episode started. And then I think I'm fully obsessed with Jaye P. Morgan now. She is... My first notes are, oh my god, she's fabulous. Just from the moment she just tosses a bomb at Scooter, I was like, I'm in love.
I loved that they had her playing this, like, I don't want to be cute, I don't care for, like, just like a puppet show, and I want to sort of do something a bit risque or what, like, I mean, I
She wants to flash on the Muppet Show.
Exactly. Exactly. That was left on the cutting room floor, thankfully.
Yeah. She's just so arch and a bit sort of like hoity about it, but in a way that it's a bit. But it's just such a fun, interesting energy that we've not quite had before, and they play into it so perfectly. I mean, right into her first number, but not before we have another explosion in the opening titles. I mean, it's like their shipment of that exploding juggernaut or whatever it is, just like it shipped her like at this time, and they're like, God, we've got an entire season's worth of explosions like that we need to use up, and we're already on episode 18 of the second season. Like, we need to get them gone.
It is bizarre. I feel like this season's been a lot less explosive heavy than season 1, and then this episode they've
gone absolutely mad.
Hog
every
wild.
single one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed Crazy Harry blowing Gonzo up at the start. I thought that was, because all of the ones recently have just been Gonzo on his own with the trumpet, which is fun. Obviously, we love seeing Gonzo, but just like, yeah, I love that Crazy Harry's just on the rampage this episode.
Yeah, truly, like, it's like a vendetta.
Yeah. And then to go straight into Kermit introducing Jay's first number and saying that it's the first thing the Muppets ever did. I was having a look on Muppet Wiki. Thank you, Muppet Wiki.
Thank you, Muppet Wiki.
Kermit is speaking the truth. Tweedledee, Jim and Jane performed it on WRC TV's afternoon show with 2 bird puppets, and it is literally the first thing that they ever did on television.
That's nuts.
That's very cool.
Yeah, and actually, we'll obviously get onto it later, but That Old Black Magic is a song that Kermit and Sam did on Sam and Friends as well. So 2 of Jay's numbers are real classic Muppet, like historical Muppet songs. So that's quite fun and nice for her.
It's so mad when you think about that. Jim has sort of been hustling away for over 20 years at this point, and obviously Sesame Street has
exploded.
But then nice.
Yeah.
But then because you sort of think of the Muppets as always, I don't know, it's just mad to think that he was already 20 years into his kind of career before the Muppet Show happened. It gives hope to all of us.
I was going to say, it gives hope to us all.
Oh, God, yeah.
Tweedly, tweedly, tweedly dee. I'm as happy as can be. Jiminy cricket, Jiminy Jack, you make my heart go clickety clack. Tweedly, tweedly, tweedly dee. Tweedly, tweedly dee. What am I doing here? I mean, this is really corny. I flew 8,000 miles to be here. The plane was late, I haven't slept, and I'm dressing with a bunch of pigs. Then they put me in this bird-brained costume. Want me to be cute. The feathers smell like a skunk. Then I gotta say, Tweedledee, Tweedledee.
So, this is crazy. I love it. The moment that Jaye P just pops up in this bizarro, feathery bird outfit. I love it. And the fact that they're letting her keep her, these feathers smell like a skunk, and
Yeah.
I'm going into a coma. Just she's fully deflating this number all the way through.
I know. I love it. Especially when she's like, what am I doing? I flew 8,000 miles to do this.
I mean, I think that is just her generally complaining. You can imagine her saying that 2 seconds before they called action, and they were just yeah, just chuck it in the song. It'll be hilarious. Don't worry about it.
I think it's brilliant.
When Shirley Bird appears as well, it's just
And she's just oh, God. It just... It's just brilliant. It's just exactly it's just such a really fun energy to have. I think not since what's his name in the chicken outfit?
Harvey Korman.
Harvey Korman have we had someone so disgruntled, but this is 10 times funnier. I just love it so much. I just couldn't stop laughing at it.
Because she's playing it in a knowing way, where it is still that the Muppets are in on the joke, whereas Harvey Korman just did generally seem annoyed to be there and I just want to get out of this chicken suit and what am I doing? Whereas she just is she knows it's funny to be the grump and to be playing that alongside Richard Hunt's chirpy little Shirley Bird.
Yeah. I mean, it's the classic kind of somebody in a big Mickey Mouse outfit taking off their head and smoking a cigarette. Do you know what I mean? It's the combination of ludicrous outfit, depressed person dressed in ludicrous outfit, and just being world weary and sort of so unmagical. It's great.
I think the fact that they've done it on the green screen and she's just floating in against this bright blue backdrop, and obviously she's in the most colourful outfit I think we possibly have ever seen on the Muppet Show, and it's they're doubling down on her being this is fun and for the children and whatever, and she's just no,
it's so undignified. It's so sort of ludicrous that she's going to be standing in front of some sort of green screen or whatever equivalent, just in an otherwise empty room, dressed in this feather outfit, while one other person has a chirpy bird. It's hi. She's just oh, God. It's the energy of if Emma had to entertain children.
It's so true.
Yeah, just Never leave Emma at the kids' table. Just like, oh god.
I did look up the song. I'm guessing you both know Tweedledee.
Sort of.
Yeah. So it's got an interesting history. So Laverne Baker.
This isn't when you reveal that it turns out it's racist, is it?
It's not it's not racist as in the song isn't racist, but the history of the song is kind of racist.
Perfect. Of course it is.
So Laverne Baker originally did it as a black singer. And then Georgia Gibbs, who was white, did a cover of it, and it became a lot more popular, Cal Surprise.
Yeah.
And basically then they had a huge battle over whose song it was and who had the rights to the song. Elvis also covered it because of course he did.
Of course he did.
But it was popular again in the 70s because little Jimmy Osmond did it in 1972. So I am assuming that is probably why it was on the Muppet Show, other than Jane and Jim obviously doing it back in the 50s.
That adds another layer of humiliation if you're now singing a song that's like related to the Osmonds,
Yeah.
particularly like the youngest Osmond. Do you know what I mean?
The most twee and annoying Osmond.
It'd be like a 30-year-old having to sing Puppy Love, and you're like, why? Like, why am I doing this?
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of interesting as a bit of backstory for the song as well. But yeah, it was a great opening. It was really, really, yeah.
Yeah, I love.
Fun.
Yeah, and then the cut to Waldorf and Statler, who I thought were really on it this week. They had some really great singers, having their little, acknowledging the bad joke to the audience, literally, and sort of saying like we like flipped a coin to see who had to give that joke. Great.
It was good. It was really good, and I think it set up quite nicely what was to come in their next few, basically complaining about the bomb runner and everything.
Yeah. The first 8 or 9 minutes of this show, basically up until I think it's at the dance, is such a chaotic but seamless kind of bam, 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 bam of everything. Everything is feeding into the next part. Character develops the comedy, which then develops plot, and it's just, I was rollicking along until we got to At the Dance. And even then, At the Dance was not as bad as it usually is, but then it does kind of, we'll get there. But I've got to say, this first sort of opening button, first number, first couple of sketches, I was really oh my God, is this going to be my favorite episode of the season? Because this is just like a runaway train of chaotic joy.
Yeah, I think the backstage bit with Kermit and Jay is really, really good fun. It's still playing on that persona that she's obviously basically had since the start of the episode.
Yeah.
Emma, were you getting slightly I was getting arch Judy Garland vibes from her in this bit? Kind of when Judy's a bit sort of on her TV show being a bit oh, okay. Well, when she's doing a little bit.
Yeah, no, I did. I thought it was really, really funny, and it was just when she was I'm just indifferent to being here. She was just...
Yeah.
That's such a great, what, can you imagine someone actually, booking someone onto a show and then them being I am indifferent about being on this show. It's such a dismissive way.
What was it the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference.
You just do not care. You have it's Don Draper in the elevator with Bob Benson.
Yeah. No, it's not Bob Benson, it's what's his name? The little short guy.
Is it Ginsberg? He says it too.
Ginsberg, that's it. It's he says something, it's I don't think about you at all. It's just great.
I'm thinking of the other elevator scene, which is Pete and Bob.
Oh, what? Not great, Bob?
Yeah, I think so. I think I just crossed them in my mind.
Right. Okay, I was going to say, that's not really relevant to this.
No, it's not, but I'm just saying I think that's where I thought it was Bob Benson from.
Okay.
I just mushed them.
So now I'm just thinking, not great, Bob. Oh, His mother has been thrown off a cruise ship. That show is honestly wild. Sometimes it's like every sort of like very slow and sedate and introspective. It's suddenly like Pete's mother's been thrown off a cruise ship. And it's like his father died in the airplane crash, and it's like what? Oh, Peggy stabs like her boyfriend with a knife that she's got on the end of a long stick. What's this? Oh no, now I'm going to have to watch Mad Men again.
So from one chaotic moment to another, we go to Swedish Chef with his coconut.
His cuckoo nude.
Cuckoo nude.
This, for me, was one of the best Swedish Chef sketches we've had in a long time, because it just felt so classic. We're getting him just trying to smash open this coconut. I wrote down, this is me trying to cut into a mango. Every time I have to make this goddamn mango salsa with this delicious fish tacos recipe from Table Manners, I forget every single time, like, what side is the side I'm meant to slice? And if I feel the resistance, how do I... And then you have to cut the little... And you get so little mango from, like, cutting this thing.
You do.
Always like, why have I bothered? Like, what is the point of this? How many mangoes do I have to slice through to get this damn salsa?
Just as an aside, Lewis, the last time we did something that involved mango chunks, I did just buy mango chunks because I was like, I cannot be bothered to deal with the mango today.
I think I might have to do it because I've long since given up doing... I think I tried once to cut open a pomegranate and like get those fucking seeds out, and I was like, never again.
Yeah.
So now I'm like,
Top.
sorry. Yeah, literally, like, I'm sorry, like, sorry, Greta, but there's another plastic tub is getting tossed in the bin. Like, I can't.
We're terrible people, we know that, but, you know, there's only so much time in the day.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna be slicing mango like I'm Betty Draper trying to put together a centerpiece for some sort of dinner party. And then, I mean, the denouement of him opening up the coconut, and it's another bomb. I was like, ah! Like, this is too much.
I cracked up that it was a bomb. I then actually shrieked at the television when I saw that he was on fire. Did you know? Like, Emma, I'm guessing you noticed his little
There's
hat.
a lot of people on
There
fire.
were a lot of people on fire today.
I think the health and safety monitor was off for this episode.
You think?
Yeah. And they were like, we're going to go for it. We're going to see if we can actually burn a puppet.
Gonna burn this place down.
Yeah, it was great. It was like he was so frazzled and he was literally on fire and he was like all sooty, and it was just a really, really great, solid Swedish Chef sketch. And then to follow it up with exactly what the audience is thinking from Statler and Waldorf, with them saying they've already done bombs this episode, and then third time's the charm. I mean, it's just so Muppets. It's just...
Yeah.
I love it. Just double down on the stupidness and silliness, and yeah, if it wasn't funny the first two times, it's definitely going to be funny the third.
Yeah, I genuinely can't believe this first like 10 minutes of this episode. It's just like so madcap, but I really love it because I think it's done so well. You know, we go on to like, we sort of head backstage, and then that sort of leads directly to Fozzie then having to go on stage to introduce the next act. And then we get a lovely little moment with Waldorf and Statler that just, again, it just works so well. Even though it's the same setup that we've had before, somehow this time it's just knocking along a lot faster. Like, you know.
It's moving really seamlessly between on stage and backstage, and I think having Waldorf and Statler there and actually using them in this way helps to link that, doesn't it? Because that sort of helps with your transitions, but also like when you have someone like Fozzie, who we obviously know they love to heckle, come back on, you're maintaining that continuity. And lest we forget before we move on, that obviously when you're backstage again, you get yet another explosion of the cake in Jaye P's dressing room.
Oh my God, that was a huge explosion.
That was.
Like,
the door went flying.
The door.
That 7/8 the size door has gone.
Yeah. And my absolute favourite moment, though, was when we panned out from that back onto Fozzie and Kermit, and you could see her, like, long boot leg
Yes!
against the door.
That cracked me up.
It
I thought
did,
that was
yeah.
very Wizard of Oz, like, you know, like
Oh, yeah,
the Wicked
Wicked Witch
Witch's
of the
legs,
East.
like
Yeah.
hanging out. Yeah, it was great. It was so funny. And she clearly, again, for all of her, I don't want to play Q, I'm not interested in playing along with your games, like, clearly so game. The fact that she's literally throwing herself out of an exploded door and shoving a boot in the air.
Oh, it's only going to get even closer as we move further along.
Oh my God.
I know, and
No.
also I love the fact that obviously someone's had to go along and like char and like tear up all these costumes as well.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
God.
absolute chaos. Which, yeah, continues yet again into Gonzo the Great's Flight of the Bumblebee, which, if you both remember, is literally the first ever song that Gonzo does anything with. In the Juliet Prowse episode, which is 101, he says he's going to eat a tire to Flight of the Bumblebee, and we get a couple of bars of it, and then it abruptly cuts away because obviously Gonzo can't literally eat a tire.
Oh my God, I did not remember that
You don't remember
at
that?
all.
Well,
That was a long time ago.
it was a long time ago. But yeah, he's back, and this time he's with Rolf and Animal. Emma, what did you think?
Oh, my poor Rolf.
Yeah,
He's,
he was
like,
being beaten. Like,
beaten. Animal's going absolutely mad, like clubbing this like bee and just hitting everyone on the head. Like,
multiple clubs
yeah,
against
multiple
Rolf's head.
clubbings. Like, what is going? Like, it's just crazy chaos.
Again, I loved it because it was just keeping the pace up to
Yeah.
just such an insane degree. And I think, like, almost the two biggest chaos agents in the Muppet troupe, beyond obviously like Crazy Harry, I feel are Animal and Gonzo. And
Yeah.
then just to have Gonzo playing the most madcap tune, like the Flight of the Bumblebee is already sort of like a like kind of thing. And then we've got Animal just like with a big old stick, just ready to beat people trying to get to the bee. It was, I loved it. I did. It was great. It was so simple.
I think Rolf's reactions were hilarious in this as well, because he went from looking a little bit perturbed and like, oh my God, I need to duck and get out of the way, to at the end he genuinely looked scared for his life.
Yeah.
Like, I think
I know.
it was such great reaction work to
Yeah.
Gonzo and Animal just going crazy. It was really, really funny.
And Gonzo just like so trying to focus on still playing. Like
Yeah.
he was so trying not to like pay attention to Animal, which just made it even more bonkers. It was like a fever dream, to be honest.
It almost feels like it's what Gonzo would imagine like his big numbers would be like, and then
Yeah.
he's just like convinced Animal to to come and get involved.
I can never separate this music of the Flight of the Bumblebee from the... Do you remember, was it Lurpak that used to have the trumpeting playing guy made out of butter? Like, he always used to like run around and be like... I don't know, I just always remember it. And then they all burnt in that Aardman fire.
All right, Emma.
Or was it I Can't Believe It's Not Butter? I can't
No,
remember.
Lurpak
No, I think it
the,
was Lurpak.
Lurpak
Yeah.
was the little trumpeter.
I just remember...
Definitely.
and then they all melted in that Aardman fire. Just, I know.
Oh, so sad.
Oh, yes, it was. But,
Yeah.
More chaos. And then...
It comes crashing down.
I know, I literally wrote, no! Because I was like so happy about how well this episode had gone. And then we land back in that goddamn ballroom.
And the gag this week is the trouble with...
Men, women, you. I mean, the only thing I did have is like, all the jokes are kind of linked at least. So there is maybe a better through line in this At the Dance sketch than there usually is, where it's just like any shit that sticks to the wall. Do you know what I mean? That they just toss up there. And you know what? I did laugh at the nose gag. I'm a simple man of simple pleasures. And when that enormous schnoz like came like careening round, I was like, ah!
I think think that was the only one that I was like, okay, fine. I'm sorry if I'm being really stupid. I literally did not understand the first one about him saying women take things personally, and she just replied, I don't. What was that?
Because she's taking the general comment and making it specific to her. So women do take things personally because she's made a general comment personal because she says, I don't.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
I would say it's a thinker, but it's not really a thinker. It's
Yeah.
more of like a, oh, like a, okay.
Okay. Yeah, I did on both of my watches. I was like, I still don't understand. I think I might have even rewound.
It's
because
because you weren't taking it personally.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, exactly like you've just said, Lewis. Like, just the pace and the fun level and the anarchy of the whole opening of this episode just feels like it gets completely put on pause so that we can have a couple of crap jokes between some couples. And I don't know. Obviously, everyone knows how we feel about At the Dance anyway, but like, it's just such a disappointment to have it in this episode because it just felt like it was off to such a flyer. Like, why would you put it here? And if you did still need it to fill some time, why not put it a bit later in the episode when maybe things have calmed down a little bit? Because I feel like it does sort of calm down in intensity as the episode goes on.
Yes, it absolutely does. But this feels like such a sort of like screeching halt rather than a sort of rather than, I don't know, and I can't think of anything off the top of my head of how they could have, I don't know, even just more just like a faster paced song. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to sort of move up JP Morgan's closing finale number to here because that feels like a waste.
Personally, I think you could swap this with Muppet Newsflash.
Yes,
And
that's oh my god, like that is we'll get there, but
that's just like done, like that, and that would still have kept up that energy.
Yeah, because then when you get to like and then if you still followed it with the Rolf number, that still that builds in intensity, but then lands and ends. Yeah, maybe you're right. Actually, maybe that's what they would need to do.
I think that would help at least. But obviously, At the Dance, just let it fly away somewhere. That would be great.
Like you promised it would.
Oh, how did I know that was
Every time you hear that, you're like, great. Another week of me just getting lambasted.
I'm like, I already hate this, and also on top of that, now I doubly hate this because I'm apparently personally responsible for this entire sketch.
Somebody has to be.
It's not me.
Much in the same way that Emma is personally responsible for Rolf. Emma, what did you think of this gorgeous little number between Rolf and Fozzie?
Oh, it was so cute. I loved it so much. I love the fact that kind of Rolf sits there. He's like, just playing, having a great time. Fozzie rocks up and like, he's like, hey, I can play. And he's like, oh, okay, I didn't know you can play. And then they just do this duet and it's so cute because Rolf's like, can you do this? Can you like, catch up with me? And oh, my heart literally like melted when I watched it. It was such a beautiful thing.
It's so charming and still funny. And even so, that first moment where Fozzie comes in and Rolf does this little lean onto the piano as he watches Fozzie, and I was like, oh my god, like you beautiful little specimen. And as it builds up, and they do then my favorite bit, Fozzie loses his hat, and Rolf's like, can you play hatless? And Fozzie's like, I don't know, who wrote it? And it's just like, yes, classic stupid gag. Oh.
Hey, I didn't know you could play the piano.
I didn't know it either.
I'll join in. Very good. Here I go.
Oh, he's good.
Yeah.
Ah.
This is my part.
Thank you.
It's really, really lovely. I think it's such a shame it's the UK spot. What a
Yeah.
waste
No,
of a
this
UK
is the
spot.
UK spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a waste.
I know. I will take personal responsibility for this. For our US listeners, I am sorry you did not get this on the original run, but at least you can see it now because it's so lovely.
I
It's so
assumed it must have been
gorgeous.
Floyd and the bass. Like, I was like,
No,
that's
it was
so...
No, this was...
What the... Ugh, that's so stupid.
The song is English Country Garden as well, which is just like a traditional bit of music. I vaguely think I possibly learnt to play this in the brief period of time when I learnt to play piano, but
I never knew
I
you
would
learned
not-
piano.
it was a very short-lived thing. It was like 2 or 3 years tops. It wasn't very long that I learnt for. Yeah. Have my grade 5 in music theory. Could I recall any of that now? Absolutely not.
I don't. That's like when I think about how I got like an A star on my sociology A level, and I can't remember a single thing. I wrote an entire essay on 6 different kinds of Marxist feminism, and I could not for the life of you. Yeah, like there were 6
Do you know
different.
what? That's like I you know when I did like that really brief journalism course, I learned how to do shorthand, and I actually passed it and got a certificate. I have no idea how to do that now. Literally no
Emma,
clue.
that's such a shame. I wish I could do shorthand.
Why? Why would you need shorthand in this day and age?
Because it's shorthand. It saves you time.
So does just pressing record on your phone app. Like, and at least then you can actually engage with the conversation with the person. You're not sort of going, you know, like,
No, but not
frantic.
not for interview purposes. Just for,
Yeah,
like,
but this was like
note-taking.
10 years ago.
Like, this was 25 years ago. When you still had to write your story on a typewriter. Just
Yeah.
ding.
I have no idea. No idea.
Oh dear.
Anyway, back to Rolf and Fozzie. I really liked at the end as well when after they'd gone flying off the bench. Did you notice that Rolf popped up like back onto the piano as if to say like I'm okay, I'm still here. It was really sweet.
He knew Emma needed to know that he was okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he did.
he was okay.
Somebody who is not okay is JP Morgan in this next sketch, who gets
Oh,
4 different explosions near her, and then her own hat, which is
Her
then
hat.
on fire.
catches
Like,
fire.
It's on fire. You could see the little flame.
I know, and I was like, oh, is that going to be the joke? And it's like, no, she's just incidentally on fire. Like, why is nobody stopping
I
this
honestly,
sketch?
when I saw that, I was like, I can't believe she agreed to do that. Why would you have an explosive on your head, especially in the 1970s?
Oh, God.
Maybe
I
that
mean,
was the payoff. She was like, I want a flash. And they were like, no, you can't do that. But what you could do
Can't have a
is
flash, but
catch
you
on
can have a
fire.
bang.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What her outfit in this, loved, obviously. Hat, great. But God, she's a flame. Help her. Flames on the side of my face. Like breathing, heaving breaths.
Again, I liked that they were calling out the explosive, the fact that that was obviously the theme of the episode, and also that the Muppet Show is known for them.
Yeah.
I wonder if they were responding to like specific criticism. You know, like if there'd just been like some general press that was like, oh, all the Muppet Show is explosions, and I don't even know, there's not even been that many flying chickens or whatever yet.
At one point, it really sounded like JP Morgan said shit.
I think she said check.
Yes, exactly. But I was like, I wrote down check or shit. I was
Yeah.
like, check. I was like, what? Like, come again?
No, I thought the same. Maybe I think she was just pushing as far as she could in every direction. Just like, what can I get away with?
God, she seems so much fun. Is she still alive, Emma?
She is.
How old is she?
I think she's in her 90s.
I couldn't actually find a date of birth for her.
Perfect. Now I love her even more. Like, that's the kind of energy I like. What's a drive-in? The whole business of the sketch of obviously there's lots of explosions. It's done so seamlessly, and it seems like it's... Did you see cuts? Because I was wondering
No.
whether there was 2 Kermit puppets.
I think there's 2 Kermits because
Yes, because that's what I mean, because they really didn't... You know, that sort of
Yeah.
jarring cut was
I'm
not...
pretty
Yeah.
sure it was all done in camera because there was nothing because most of their cuts are pretty obvious. Even if they're well done at this point, they're still pretty
Yeah.
obvious. But the thing that I actually noticed was, I think one of the puppets looked a little bit different to the other puppet.
Mm.
The one that was on the right of the frame looked like it was a slightly newer version of Kermit than the one that was doing most of the talking with
Yeah,
Jay.
that's what I thought as well.
Yeah, he looked a bit less like
Polished.
the one. Yeah, the one on the left was a bit more bobbly, and the other one was a bit smoother.
He needed a lint rolling.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure they used two Kermits.
Yeah, I thought so too. But I thought it was pretty seamlessly.
It was
done.
very well done. Other than the fire, it was very well done.
Jesus.
I was like, did she know her hat was on fire afterwards?
I don't think she did.
No.
But also, why is nobody in the crew stopping the sketch? You know what I mean? If you notice that, like, your guest's hat is on fire and it's like, it's the 70s, everything is flammable. Like, that hat could go up in seconds. She's probably wearing a ton of hairspray and it's like that old school hairspray that's killing the ozone layer. Like, like Farrah Fawcett single-handedly, like, hurtling us towards global warming.
They needed the shot, Lewis. They just needed that take. They'd already used, half a ton of explosives on that
but
scene.
JP Morgan needs her scalp. Like, Jesus.
No, that's overrated.
Oh, dear.
I'd love to see what the contract is that they all sign before they go on the Muppet Show. Whether it's like, if anything happens to you, we are absolutely not liable at all.
Oh, I'm sure Lou Grade was like watertight on not being liable for stuff. Like that guy was. He was
you
not
agreed to
fucking
come on
around.
this show, you deal with the consequences.
Yeah, at your own risk.
It's like, was it called The Jump?
Oh
That
my
show.
god, yeah, like most of them broke their like ankles or necks or did spinal injuries.
Was it Beth Tweddle that ended up with like really bad spinal injury?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my
she did all
God.
those years as like a professional
Yeah,
gymnast, and
nothing.
then it was the jump that basically
Killed her.
killed her. Yeah,
Okay, let's just.
Well, you know what I mean, like
yeah, she had a really bad like spinal injury,
it's
didn't
really
she?
bad, wasn't it?
And then they cut the show.
Yeah, funnily enough.
Yeah, but not straight away. It had another season, and then they eventually were like, maybe we should stop this.
We've maimed too many celebrities. Like-
We've run out of idiots to agree to come on.
I mean, winter sports, like, so dangerous.
I know. We've never been a winter sports family, have we, Emma?
No.
The most is probably like ski bobbing down at that place in the New Forest.
Yeah, I was thinking of ski bobbing, and there was that, like, was it there or was it somewhere else where there was, like, donuts that went down
Yeah.
a
Oh
drain?
no, they added the donuts later
They added
on.
the donuts,
Yeah.
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 I used to love ski bobbing. Such a weird little thing when I think about it. It's like this strange little faux alpine chalet that's just built atop a like dry ski slope in the middle of the forest, and you just sort of like slide down it for an hour, and then it's like, and done.
Now we're going to have hot chocolate. Yay!
Yeah. Oh, I want to go ski bobbing.
You can do that when Peter's at Glastonbury.
I will be sitting on my sofa, luxuriating in my ability to jump between stages without having to walk. And if I want the experience, I can, go get a mild sunburn at some point during the day and drink an overpriced drink from a plastic cup,
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself. Fine leather goods. Oh, I wish I had money for fine leather goods. I was trying to find any way to go from fine leather goods to...
I kind of have one.
Go on.
Speaking of people who have got a new outfit, Floyd is all dressed up in this next number.
Nice. Yep. We'll allow this transition.
I mean, it's not the most seamless, but,
Well,
it'll do.
yeah.
So this is Big Noise from Winnetka, which, I mean, I can't even read my own writing on this. Hold on.
Were you doing shorthand?
Yeah, I attempted.
having never learned shorthand, you just attempted it. It's like, this doesn't mean anything at all.
That was how I felt most of the time. I don't really know how I got the certificate, to be honest.
You must have just done enough of the shapes that they were like, this looks something like it. That's fine.
Yeah.
Ray, I'm not going to say this name right. Buddock? No idea, I'll be honest. and Bob Haggart for the Bob Crosby Orchestra. I'm saying a lot of words that don't mean anything to me, but basically it's a bit of a jazz. I think it became a bit of a jazz standard.
Yeah. I was saying it's a bit of a, in terms of Muppet world, it feels a bit of a proto Walter with the sort of the whistling, and then a bit of a play on the way that the Manamana sketch goes, where the goes further and further back, and I was expecting him to run back forward and do, and then they just peter out to nothing.
Nigel just walks away.
Yeah. It's such a nothingy, stupid sketch.
See, I didn't mind it. Like, I thought it was fine. I thought it was going to build to something, and I thought Nigel was going to rush back to the front. But just having Floyd playing the double bass and Nigel whistling, and that did feel very Walter, and I didn't mind it for what it was. But it did, just in general, I think it felt a little bit strange that, like, having had such a great opening to then have things like at the dance and then this kind of breaking up the flow of the episode was a little bit weird. I feel like you can really divide the episode into like two halves.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I always get slightly anxious when I see somebody playing an upright double bass, because it always makes me think about that cringeworthy clip of Kim Cattrall on some sort of interview where it's her and her then partner, and they talk about how they enjoy doing jazz improv together.
What? Oh my god, I've not seen this.
What? Have you guys never seen this? Oh my god, I might just have to try and find it for you now, because I don't even know if my impression of it would be like good enough for quite how. Right, Kim Cattrall double bass. Oh, I found it. Okay. Oh god. It's a 43-second clip, and it's called Kim Cattrall talks about hubby Mark. Oh my god. I can't wait for you guys to see this. Okay. Just wait for this. I can't wait. I just want to watch you two watch it. I can't wait. Oh my god. Right, I'm just going to watch you two.
I read poetry and sonnets, and he plays the upright bass. Yamakipiebo, cedere facebo, in dog Latin, he quote, UJ, sophist
Is this real?
Yes!
Well, he spit all the he-dogs and winked at all the she-dogs. The town never knew such a hullabaloo as the little dog raised till the end of that day. We just have a good rhythm together. You know? He sort of feels me out, I feel him out, and we go for it.
And that is it. And it's just the most cringe.
It literally feels like a parody.
It does. It's so bad. Everybody at home, I please encourage you to look up Kim Cattrall talks about hubby Mark on YouTube. It's the best, worst 42 seconds of your life. Oh my god.
It literally feels like something out of like Best in Show. It just feels so
literally.
unreal.
The he dogs and the she dogs. Just scuba-da-boo. So that's why I never feel quite safe when I see an upright bass, because all I can think is like, oh my god, somebody's going to do some improv poetry.
Kim Cattrall's going to come out from behind a curtain.
Yeah, literally.
Feel up her hubby Mark.
Oh, hubby Mark. I don't think they're together anymore.
Ex-hubby Mark.
Oh.
Might need a minute.
He's get-ba-doo, It's just so stupid. And she's so happy about it. And she's willingly putting that on television. And she has
Why would you ever invite anybody to record that?
And she has a music stand in front of her. Like, they do this often. Like, they've got the setup. Oh, God.
Christ. That's hilarious.
I cannot believe you two have never come across that before.
No, I feel like I haven't lived.
You haven't. You'll mark your life as before and after having seen that most cringeworthy clip.
That's it now. All we're going to have to do is text each other and go, hubby Mark.
Hubby.
Mark. He dogs and a she dogs.
Are you having a bad day? Yes. Hubby Mark.
Oh, God.
Yeah, well, Floyd and Nigel had nothing on them, so...
Oh, no.
No. It's very disappointing.
It is.
Oh.
So, from Kim Cattrall to another difficult actress, we go to Pigs in Space with the Recalcatron First Mate Piggy. What the hell does that mean?
I am looking it up. Because I meant to do it before we started and I ran out of time. Recalcitrant means having an obstinately uncooperative attitude towards authority or discipline. I mean...
Oh, well, that's pretty bang on. Recalcitron. Is that right? Recalcitron?
Recalcitrant.
Tront.
It's Tarnt at the end. Yeah, and it was fatuous Link Hogthrob, and my favourite one, the describable Doctor Strange Pork.
Yeah, that's really good.
They're amazing. I feel like they sit down and they're like, okay, we need to come up with words that sound like they're funny sounding words.
Yeah.
But that are like, yeah, just really silly. And
Yeah.
they nail it every time.
It feels like a very, I don't know, almost Harvard Lampoon style kind of joke.
Yeah, yeah.
It feels very, sort of.
It's very writerly. I don't know if that's a word, but it's sort of...
Have either of you been watching Reboot yet? Because it's now on
Yes.
Disney Plus.
It's so
I've just
good.
plowed all the way through it. It's great. It's very
so
good.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like they ask a question at one point. Paul Reiser asked one of the other comedians, like, "What's the funniest food?" And she goes, "Oatmeal," and he's like, "No, it's pickles." Like, it's just such a like.
Oh, I'll have to watch it.
Yeah,
Oh, Emma,
you'll
you'll
love
really
it.
like it.
Now
You
that I
will.
finished Golden Girls.
Really keeping up to date on the hot new comedies of now.
Emma's got that Disney Plus on speed dial for the hip new shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair. Yeah, Emma literally is just like any over 65-year-old woman is like watching reruns of the Golden Girls and then the new season of Grey's Anatomy. Like the only she is a cat that's been left in an apartment with the television on. She's just like.
No, you'll love Reboot, Emma. It's such a it's so insidery about sitcoms and writers' rooms and old school.
Yeah, it's well
old
done.
school Hollywood versus more modern takes. There's just some absolutely brilliant lines in it. It's great.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah. And Judy Greer, obviously.
Oh, and Rachel. Oh, wait, did you ever watch Crazy Ex-Girlfriend?
Yeah,
Emma?
love Crazy Ex. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
me
did you
too.
watch it?
No, I sort of started watching it, but then I didn't go too far.
Well, I'm afraid she's in it, so
Aw.
enjoy. She's great.
It's a
though.
very
She's got-
different character.
It is. And she has the kind of hair colour that I keep insisting that you should get, Emma. One day I'm just in your sleep. I'm just going to get a little pot and just paint it. Oh.
As long as you don't catch Emma's hair on fire, Lewis, I think it'll be fine.
Right, let's get back to Pigs in Space. Sorry. This was, I felt like, a kind of improvement on previous sketches.
I felt like the first bit was a definite improvement.
Yeah.
You know, this idea that they're plummeting towards Earth. Okay, great. That's a sci-fi premise. We
Yes.
like that. That's in keeping with the world. Great. Then engines fallen off. You know, they need to get rid of some weight. Okay, great. This is all sounding fine. And it's funny that they're obviously both thinking Piggy is the one
Piggy,
that's going to
yeah.
go. Fine. Happy with that. And then as soon as she comes in and says that she's exhausted from doing the laundry, I was so disappointed.
Yeah, it's
I just
strange.
felt like that expectation that the start of the sketch had built up of oh, okay, where are they going with this? This is genuine sci-fi and this is funny and I'm liking. And then I was just like, and we're back to the sexist 70s. I know it's sending it up, but it's just just get over it. Just do something else.
There's so much more. it's the same thing I say every goddamn time. There's so much more potential with this sketch concept. And you're right, that first half, you're like, oh my God, we're actually getting a plot and incident-based comedy in Pigs in Space. And then it immediately sort of falls back to this. And then once they get to the bit of like, he's got a very special duty for her and Piggy realizes that it's meant to be her, that's fun. But even then, it doesn't feel like it revs the engine back up properly. I don't know.
No, and I actually think it might have even been funnier if maybe he had just, like, maybe she was still tired and maybe it was from doing the first proper assignment that he'd given her, and then she's excited to do the next assignment. And, do you know, and she realizes that actually it's her that's getting booted off the ship, and you could still finish it in the same way or in a similar way. But instead of her just having come from doing the laundry, like I
did kind of hope as well that we would have seen Link float past in the vacuum of space. I really thought we were going to get that, and then it just didn't happen.
Yeah, that would have been really good.
I did think it was quite funny though when he's obviously trying to like drop Piggy through the trap door, and he's like, "Au revoir, fatso," and then she just reappears, and then she starts going crazy and going like, "Hiya," and like just kind of drops him down.
Yeah. We haven't had a fat joke about Piggy in a while, which felt like, again, another strange little quirk. I don't know.
Yeah, and also just, like, extra bizarre coming from another pig. Like,
yeah.
Just...
And not exactly a lean, that's not some lean bacon. Do you know what I mean? So
I still feel like they haven't 100% got a handle on what Pigs in Space can do.
Yeah. Which, I don't know. I feel like we live in a glut of, like, sort of parodies of sci-fi. It does feel strange that this one doesn't seem to hit yet, considering it feels like a fairly famous kind of space parody. Like, I'd heard of Pigs in Space before I'd watched The Muppet Show.
Yeah, I knew about Pigs in Space more than I knew about Veterinarian's Hospital, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And yet here we are, having enjoyed probably Veterinarian's Hospital a lot more. Well, one man who very rarely lets me down is Muppet Newsman, who, I mean, it's the exact same.
It's the identical
joke to last week with the sports equipment, but now it's an entire grand piano. And I mean, when I said I was expecting maybe like, I don't know, a bunch of violins or I don't know, but I did not expect a full grand piano to come crashing down. And after having spoken with Warwick last week, I do worry for the puppeteer's hands of like, even how heavy was that faux, grand piano?
I mean, I'm guessing it was probably foam, so it was probably fine. But like, yeah, it did.
But you can't like brace for that. Do you know what I mean?
I was going to say, even from like a height, like that would have been, an impact.
Something. Yeah. I did notice that afterwards, when he was recovering, Lewis, the newsman was really touching his nose. I don't know if you noticed, and I was like, "Oh,
of course, he's protecting his investment. That's his
money
USP,
maker."
Baby. Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't have that, I'm not interested. Like that's one of the key components. I wish I was kidding. Like,
we know you're not.
I know. Oh fuck! The bloody sun's come out.
We literally
told you it was coming.
A huge downpour of rain, and now it's sunny again. I'm sure there's probably like a rainbow somewhere.
Oh, I'm livid.
And then we have the return of a Muppet that honestly I would be more than happy never to see again in my entire life. The return of Jaye P. Gross, Scooter's uncle and the owner of the Muppet Theatre, who...
As they have to keep reminding us because they know that nobody's going to remember. I mean, I suppose when you realise that you've got a guest and a character on your roster that have literally the same initial and or name, I get it. And I suppose it's fine, but I do just hate him as a character. Which, I mean, I suppose we're meant to, but it's such a... when you're just like, oh, God, get out of here already.
There's a difference between hating someone because you're meant to, and that's, like, there's a joy in hating them, if you know what I mean. Yes. And then what I feel about him, which is just like, oh, God, I just don't care. And also, he's just an awful puppet. And, yeah, I just don't like him.
Yeah, it's the difference between, if I may Real Housewives this, having an Erica Jane where I don't like you but you're good television, and having a Lisa Rinna and a Diana Jenkins where it's like, I hate you and I think you're also a bad person and I don't want you around anymore. For anybody at home just who's on the Housewives train right now.
I do not watch, but I understand the principle of the message.
Oh, it's great television.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, which is just that they obviously saw that there was a joke there to be made with Kermit getting himself into hot water over a miscommunication over which JP he's talking about.
Yeah. I kind of didn't like that JP Morgan then seems to side with
Yeah.
JP Gross.
Yeah,
I kind
yeah.
of wanted, as soon as she realised that Kermit wasn't talking about her, for her then to be kind of back on Kermit's side and be like, ooh, look out. But she doesn't. She kind of puts her arm around it. I'm like, no, that's the wrong kind of villainy. No, get back. Get away from her.
And I just don't quite understand why they, like, if they wanted to do this, why do you only introduce JP Gross halfway through the episode, or not like 3/4 of the way through the episode?
I'm kind of grateful, to be honest, because they knew there wasn't much mileage in it, and I'm kind of glad that.
But even just an acknowledgement at the start that he was there, like he could have popped up in Statler and Waldorf's box or something. I'm not saying like I do not for a second want him on screen for longer than he needs to be on screen, but it was just bizarre that it was like, oh, now he showed up. It's like, the show's been on for 20 minutes. Like, what?
I suppose even if they'd sort of like slipped in a line of being like, I can hear the explosions from my apartment, like, or something, I don't know, like, or here's a report of like, I don't know, the show bombing, and he's like, well, how's that different for any week? Like something.
Yeah.
Joke. But yak, yak, yak. They make a couple of jokes, we explode something, and then we do a song. Like, boom.
Ta-da!
Show. We go from that into another Sam the Eagle monologue, which, compared to last week, I did enjoy a lot more. Although my first notes were, is this predicting the storming of the Capitol? Like, when people are like stealing the lectern and being like, like...
It did feel a bit like that.
Yeah. I thought it was cute. I liked that they were just kind of old-timey robbers they were rinsing everything. Like, at first they're just wheeling the television out of whatever this this state building is, which I thought was great. And then the big safe, like all of it, and then they're just like taking the set down, and it was just I did think it was very cute. It went on maybe slightly too long, but I appreciated that's probably because actually the logistics of, getting those 3 puppets across and then pushing this thing across and then pulling that down, maybe a little bit snappier somehow, but I did enjoy it. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I didn't think it went on it didn't go on for oodles too long. I appreciated it, and I loved that they were that stereotypical burglar. It made me think of my sister when she was younger was like, she kept asking my parents, but what does a burglar look like? Like, I just don't understand. And it was like when she was really, really little, and like, I think my mum ended up saying to her, like, yeah, they'll wear a mask and a stripy top and they'll have a bag over their shoulder that's got a dollar sign on it. Because she was just like, I don't know what to say to her. I was like, this is what my mum should have shown her. Like, this is what burglars look like. Look, they're stealing everything. Yeah. I think, don't hold me to this 100% because I'm sure it comes back in a slightly different form, but I think that this monologue style from Sam the Eagle on the plinth and with the seal and everything, I think this is the final time we see it like that, which I guess kind of makes sense because his set has been robbed. So
it's been stolen.
You've made these kind of promises before, Jade. I don't know why you're setting yourself up like this again. Like,
well, on Muppet Wiki, thank you Muppet Wiki, this is the
Muppet
final
Wiki.
one. There's no more entries on this section, so that is what I'm going off of. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure Sam the Eagle will still be giving addresses, but I guess maybe they come in a slightly different form than this.
We get a little bit of just like plot moving forward backstage with JP Gross being like, sure, I'd love to sing a number, and Kermit having to distract him with a contract so that Scooter can go and get our actual JP Morgan. Don't know if anybody has anything they'd like to say about this scene. It just felt a bit of a like plot development. Fine, move it along.
Well, it's just a bit weird, isn't it? Again, that like the plot in the first half of the episode was all about JP Morgan not wanting to do cute things and like all the explosions and stuff, and now we seem to have completely pivoted to a plot around JP Gross wanting to sing. And I just think story-wise it's a little bit strange. Yeah, I like for a chaotic episode, actually there's not particularly a massive story through line throughout the whole episode.
Oh no, I mean the entire first act plot line is just explosions, and then plot 2 is then just suddenly JP Gross is here.
Yeah. But I think at least in the first half, like we were saying, there is like a fluidity and there is a...
Oh, yeah, it flows perfectly. You don't notice that there's a plot, a lack of plot.
Well, yeah, and
because
there's a cohesion. Like, it's sort
Yes.
of... whereas this second half, other than the fact that Scooter now needs to introduce JP Morgan singing That Old Black Magic, there's nothing to connect.
I sort of almost would have preferred if Kermit, rather than being a bit sort of like, had been a bit more active in a sort of like distract JP Gross.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, I'm going to talk you through some contract flim flam, or, you know, distract you with some stuff over here while Scooter then has to run on. Yeah, because it felt so seamless earlier on. It seems... Yeah. It's odd that it's now become a bit more clunky in its, plot machinations, because, yeah, it's doing it so seamlessly for the first 10 minutes or so.
And they do sort of try. You get the Statler and Waldorf gag, and then you cut backstage, and Kermit says to the burglars, like, oh, we need him back within 30 days, or what, you know, like, they do sort of try to make it so it's still flowing. But the actual narrative of the story is just bizarre. That, like, suddenly... Kermit's off doing contracts to sign JP Gross.
However, it does lead us into a joyful number with JP Morgan, and freed from the confines of his piano/keyboard, we get Dr. Teeth as a duet partner and a little bit of a mover and shaker.
It's so good. It's so cute. This felt he felt like such a natural scene partner for her to do the number with.
I feel like not since Rita Moreno and Animal and Connie Stevens and Bert have we had like a sassy, sexy, fun little number between the guest and a guest Muppet, if you know what I mean, like a secondary Muppet. And it was brilliant.
It was really cool. She was doing it in a really Muppety way as well. Like, she was sort of like...
She was aping his style,
Yeah, which was really cool. And obviously it was nice that you had the Electric Mayhem and some other sort of little orchestra-type Muppets in the background. Although,
what was this set?
Yeah, the set is weird. And also I found the staging a little bit strange, because actually a lot of the time Jay and Dr. Teeth were just blocking, like, the back part, which was... a bit of a shame. And the set is super strange. I don't know why they didn't just use the disco set.
Because it looked like it was almost kind of the disco set, but then they'd covered it with this weird, like, regional production, the importance of being Ernest Garden set, with literally, like, some glitter tossed onto it really haphazardly.
Yeah.
Very strange, but luckily the chemistry between Jay and Dr. Teeth was just charming. Although I was worried for Jay's right eye and Dr. Teeth's feather that kept like...
Yeah.
It's like, she's going to get blinded.
Black magic has me in its spell. Black magic that you weave so well. I see fingers up and down my spine. That same old witchcraft when your eyes meet mine. Same old tingle that I feel inside. When that elevator starts its ride.
Down and down I go.
Round and round I go.
Like a leaf caught in the tide.
I should stay away. What can I do? I hear your name and I'm aflame.
A flame with burning desire.
Put on your kiss.
Put out the fire.
Yeah, it was such good fun. It was really cute. And as I said at the start, I think it's nice when you know that it's a song that has lived in the Muppet repertoire for a really long time as well.
My knowledge of this song is Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong. Are they the people who originated it, or was it just one of those like Great American Songbook kind of numbers that loads of people have covered?
Yeah, so loads of people have done it. So it was originally for the musical Star Spangled Rhythm, and I think the Glenn Miller Band did it. Okay. And then just after that, Judy did a version of it, which was a big hit. And then I think since then, just like everyone has done it. But yeah, I mean, it's just a fun big number song, isn't it? Just a great duet, really.
The episode closes. We get the goodbyes. I did kind of enjoy JP Gross coming on stage and trying to sing. I did think that was a kind of funny little ending because it kind of makes him appear ridiculous and deflates the whole thing.
Yeah, I guess. I just like... Well, yeah, I just don't know if I could just do with him not singing. But I agree, like, it makes him look absolutely ridiculous, which is kind of fun.
My last notes are, I'm honestly obsessed with her. I just... Jaye P. Morgan, I'm going to have to do a Google of her. I need more of her in my life.
Particularly Tweedledee and That Old Black Magic, I think, are both very, very charming. And she's so on the Muppets level. And,
yes.
you know, working with them and just really, really playful and fun.
Yeah. Oh, and her outfit in the final number as well is my outfit of the week. Loved it, wanted it, craved it. Yeah, that's the one. All right. I'm actually very interested to see how this episode is going to be ranked, because I feel like it's almost a game of two halves. But first, we must decide upon our MVMP. Emma, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, so my MVMP for this episode is Rolf.
Yay!
Yay! I just love his moment with Fozzie in the UK spot. It was just such a beautiful thing to see and just so joyous and a lot of fun. And also I did like the bit with him and Gonzo and Animal on the flight of the Bumblebee as well. That was really, really great. I just thought it was really nice to see him back again, and just like all his interactions with Fozzie and with Gonzo and Animal, and him just trying to play his piano, and you know, he was just so sweet and encouraging with Fozzie as well. It was just really lovely to see. So for that, I'm going to give him my MVMP for this episode. How about you, Jade?
I did very much contemplate Rolf for my most valued Muppet performer for the week. I think he's great, but when I was reflecting back on the episode, I realised that Dr. Teeth was my favourite, and I also don't think I've ever given it to Dr. Teeth before, so I thought, I'm going to give him his props while I can. I just thought That Old Black Magic was so delightful. He was so in it with Jay, but also really still felt like him, and I just love when they were swinging around him, I think his arms were extending and contracting, and his feather was definitely about to take her eye out, but it was just so much fun what they were doing. I'm sure there would have been a nice version of that song had she sung with some of the other major Muppets, but actually the fact that he got to sing it was really, really lovely. And I'm pretty sure that's what that and Jay dressed up as the bird are probably what I'm going to remember from this episode. So I'm going to give it to Dr. Teeth this week. Lewis, who's your MVMP?
Jade, we're totally on the same track. I was almost going to give it to Rolf, and then I decided on Dr. Teeth just because it's such a nice departure for him to get out from behind his keyboard, and they utilise what kind of puppet Dr. Teeth is so well, but then simultaneously Jaye P. Morgan is mirroring and working with his sort of manner so well, and every kiss she has with him and every time she's shaking her arms about in a sort of wild manner, it was just it was joyful and a sort of a real savior for that second half of the episode. So I think it's got to be Dr. Teeth. Let's go to our rankings for this episode. Jade, I'm going to go to you first.
I think you should go to yourself, but I'll go first.
I'll go first if you want.
No, I
Fine.
can go first.
No, it's fine. I'm going first then. Fine. No, I'm going. I've changed my vote for it over the course of us discussing this episode. I was originally going to put this on the same level as Rudolph Nureyev and Julie Andrews because of how much I just personally enjoyed it. But then I was like, no, I'm just personally really enjoying Jaye P. Morgan. Actually, if I think about the episode as a whole, it really does get weaker in the second half. So I have dropped it down to 7 cuckoo nudes out of 10. I don't think there's been potentially a stronger first 9 minutes or so of a Muppet Show episode than the one we have here. Everything is so seamless. The characters are so on it. It's so fast and frantic and funny. And it just builds and builds and builds. And then unfortunately it just kind of screeches to a halt. And there are little moments that follow that are still very good, but they can't kind of restart the engine in the right way. And then suddenly we've got a new plot being added in, and it just doesn't gel as seamlessly as that first act does. And it's such a shame because I think if it had somehow been able to maintain that energy all the way through. I could have made this my highest ranked episode ever, like genuinely. But as it is, it just really kind of stalls. But for introducing me to Jaye P Morgan, I have to be eternally grateful. So yeah, I'm going to give it... I'm actually going to go 7.5 cuckoo newts out of 10. That's what I'm doing. 7.5. It's done. I'm writing it down. Okay, Jade, you go next.
Yeah, I largely agree with you. I think we've obviously spoken at length about the sort of two halves of this episode, but I think overall it's still very enjoyable, and she's a great guest star. So I'm gonna go 7 out of 10 hats on fire.
Flaming hats.
That old black magic was great. I did enjoy Sam the Eagle and the burglars and the crime. Swedish Chef with the coconut was great. Generally the bombs were good fun. Like, I think it's just, I love that they're leaning into that proper Muppet anarchy and repeating jokes until they just get so silly and stupid you can't help but laugh. Having lots of Rolf was just a lovely little cherry on top of the episode. I did enjoy the Nigel and Floyd, although now it's been somewhat tainted by
the he dogs and the she dogs and the scoop
hubby Mark. But yeah, overall, I agree with you completely. Like, I just wish they'd sustained that opening. But again, I guess it gives me hope, because I'm like, okay, well, they've nailed the first 10 minutes, so now they just need to work on the next 10 minutes.
10 to 15, yeah.
Yeah. She is a lot of fun. And unlike something like the Cleo Lane episode, for instance, they did actually play to her strengths, and you really did get to see her personality, which was lovely.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah. Emma, what's your rating for this week?
Well, funnily enough, I kind of gave it the same rating as you, Jade, and I actually had written down 7 out of 10 exploding hats. Largely kind of what you guys have already said, to be honest. It was a really solid, first 10 minutes. Jaye was a great guest. Her just interaction with everybody was a lot of fun. The Swedish Chef, Gonzo, Rolf, like I already said. And then it just, like you said, it kind of just dipped in the second half, which was a real shame. They brought it back up again, when we had Jaye's final number with Dr. Teeth, which was really, really good and a lot of fun. But I kind of felt like it definitely dipped in the middle. So that's why I decided to give it a 7 for this particular one.
Well, it is time for us to amble our way over to Jade's Muppet Book Club Corner Club. Jade, what have you got for us this week?
I read poetry and sonnets, and he plays the upright bass.
Interesting. Peek behind the curtain. We don't know what Jade's putting into that slot. She might just put any or not. She might just put in that clip of Kim Cattrall.
Very tempting at this point to maybe do that.
I think you should.
Yeah. Just have it, oh my God, have it playing underneath the closing credits as I read them now. Thank you so much for listening to Muppetsational. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to subscribe and rate and review, as it really helps spread the word about the podcast. You can follow us on social media. We are at Muppetsational on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook. You can contact us at hiho@muppetspodcast.com, and you can find out more about us and the he dogs and the she dogs and the podcast at muppetspodcast.com. Thank you so much for joining us again. We are all exhausted, and now, unfortunately, the clouds have cleared and I have to go to the pissing gym. I'm so angry. So, goodbye from me and already tired Lewis Chandler.
Goodbye from me, Jay Turner and hubby Mark.
And goodbye from a very tired Emma Chandler.
We shall see you next week on another episode of Muppetsational. Bye!
Bye! And stop.
Our theme music is Peppy Pepe by Kevin MacLeod, and our artwork is designed by Charlotte Rudge, who you can follow at Charlie_R_Rudge on Instagram.
That was a funny show.
Yes, it was. I wonder if they meant it that way.